Hi friends, how are you? As a person of creativity, a writer, a storyteller, an artist, do you feel sometimes your dream is far away? Do you feel looking at the people who succeeded, it's like a high mountain that's so difficult to reach? Do you feel stuck that you've been writing, creating for years, but not sure when you will be recognized or when your work will be seen by the world? Today is a sort of story time. It's a very eye-opening and encouraging story for all the people who want to live in a life to fulfill the dream, for all the people who have this creative mind but not sure how to keep up with it, or not sure how to even start pursuing your creative career. In today's video, I want to share the story of the director of animation Naja, as well as some interviews I've watched from Chinese platform that he has given. Trust me, this is going to give you a lot more confidence towards your work and make you grounded. Today, before I start, today's video is going to be another coffee chat. I'm getting my apple water again, and feel free to put me in the background, start doing your chores, and then let's have this conversation together and then get some things done together. Before I start talking about the director of Naja, I want to kind of talk about the movie first. I don't know if you've watched the animation Naja yet, but this movie has become... Let me pull out the data. Okay, there's 2 different Naja. I'm talking about specifically Naja 2. It's the sequel of the first Naja film. And then this animation has been listed in Wikipedia at the highest grossing film on number 5. So last month, it started surpassing movies like Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers Infinity War, and it's just surpassed Star Wars The Force Awakens. So now Naja 2 is listed number 5 in the highest grossing films in history. And right above Naja is Titanic. How an animated film gets to this point? Maybe it's not a big of deal for American audience, but for Chinese audience, this is a big deal because Chinese animations never the strength of Chinese film industry or in storytelling industry in general. By recent years, it really started picking up. And the first Naja film was released in, I believe, in 2019, and it was a big hit, box office wise, and it made the filmmaker become popular. And right before that, he was absolutely a nobody when he making this film. Then his second film became number 5 in history. And since he was not known before his first Naja film, and nobody know who he was, where he came from, and he just suddenly appeared in the film industry with the film that's greatly loved by the audience and the market. People naturally started to dig into his backstory. You might think a movie like this, it must be done by extreme professionals, the people on the top of mountains. What if I told you the first animation in the sequel, Naja, was also the film director's first feature animation? And then right before that, nobody really know who he is. He's like this sudden box office hit director that came from nowhere for most of the people. Just like most of the Chinese kids study animation, study art in general, it's not really something that your parents would be very happy about. The director, his name is Jiaozi. This is his stage name. It means dumpling, but his actual name is Yang Yu. I'm gonna just refer him as Dumpling, director Dumpling. That's a really cute name. So director Dumpling's father is radiologist, and his mother is somebody working in the administration in the hospital. As what director Dumpling's father hoped, when he went to college, he actually picked medicine because that's follow his father's path. That also meets most of the expectation of Asian parent. The story is confirmed by him in the interview. Basically, when he went to college to study medicine, he started thinking about that he has love towards animation since he was a kid, that he feel like he doesn't really want to keep going with the medicine, but instead he want to become an entrepreneur and then develop and then create his own animation. Mind you, at the time, he didn't have any animation skill. So he decided to learn animation on his own. I believe he graduated and then worked for a while, up until the point that he decided to become an animator. He decided to pursue this full-time. So he moved in and then stayed with his parents. And then right after he made that decision, his father actually passed away. And then it was just him and his mother. His mother was retired, and then he was basically live off his mother for 3 years during the time of learning about animation and then developing the first Naja film. The decision that he was making for the Chinese culture, I believe even for Western culture, it's very difficult. You have to be faithful enough towards what you do and passionate enough and focus enough in order to tune out judgments and voice around you. His father is more strict towards him, as what he said, that I'm sure his decision sort of disappointed his father. Just like my parents, even though they don't really believe in the decision that I'm making, they still decided to support you. He felt there was a strong fuel inside of him that basically driven by the need to do a good job, to make this work, to prove to his father that make his father proud, and also as a gift for his mother, since his mother sacrificed so much to financially supporting him. Allegedly, this is not confirmed by the interview I've seen, but his parents are not wealthy, and his mother is retired, so both of them basically live off his mother's retirement income, and they still need to pay rent, things like that. So a lot of friends and families are questioning about his choice. Okay, this is maybe dramatized by the media, I'm not sure, but at least the part of living off his mother is true. If you ask me if I'm capable of doing that, I even feel having a difficult time to put my ego down to do that. again, these are the decisions that require faith and passion towards what you do. So he basically learned animation on his own and made the movie Naja. And then he even sent the movie Naja to some animation film festivals, but because of lack of knowledge of what those film festivals target at, like what those film festivals like, that film actually got rejected by some of the festivals. And then it was actually picked up by people online. Basically, people online discovered pieces of the film and then they fall in love with it. He was able to distribute the first film and it became a box office hit, which is insane. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I'm feeling like tearing up. How did he know? The thing is, how did he know and so sure it is going to work? And then how did he have such a strong patience towards what he is doing and willing to put everything away and solely focusing on the craft and be able to tune down the voice of the society and tune down the voice, the ego in his head? I see that's courage. So I watched his interview after Naja 2 came out. It became the sensation. It basically became part of Chinese culture now. All the Chinese people are so proud of him. And one thing cool about this film is that unlike a lot of Chinese movies I've seen growing up, this one is actually advocating individuality. Which is really rare to see. There was a couple things that he mentioned in the interview I thought I really need to share with you. I wrote them down, but I need to translate it for you. The first thing that he mentioned is about a person's capability. He said, if you want to know what you're capable of, you can't really think about it. You have to test it. A lot of the time, our thoughts give us a limit, and only when you really test that limit, you will find out how much more you are capable. That means only when we get out there doing the work, keep challenging ourselves, keep kind of improving our craft, that's when we know we actually can achieve what we think we might not be able to achieve. I think maybe that's why he's so faithful towards what he do, because he might not really looking far away towards the end goal. He might not looking at his animation work and thinking this movie is going to be a box office hit. Maybe what he was focusing on is to looking at his craft and see, okay, this is the kind of animation I can do. Can I challenge that and then learn something new to improve my skill? Maybe his faith is towards that aspect of creativity. He mentioned there's a term in Chinese, we call it come out. It's not the typical come out that you would think about. It means going to pursue a career. It means trying to becoming a part of an industry. So he said, if you want to come out, what is the most important thing? The most important thing is actually coming out, getting out. He said the first steps you have to get out there to work, to test yourself, to practice, to presume, to be actively doing the thing. Or else, how could you be coming out and become part of the industry? I hope I'm translating it properly. Basically, if you want to really become part of something, you have to get yourself out there first. Not in the sense of get out there social. It's more of getting out there, do your work, show your work, and practice your work. Host was asking him, but when you have like anxiety of what if you don't know what to do? He said the thing about challenge is that there is always a solution. What holding people back is that they don't even come out to do the work, to face the challenge. As long as you are putting yourself in front of the challenge, you'll find the solution. You'll find the people who has same thoughts, same dream, same passion as you do, and will be there to help you to achieve it. I think this is so easy to say, but so difficult to do. A lot of us are holding back by the fear of not being able to find a solution. And then we literally, like what he said, are paralyzed at the thought stage. We haven't even tried. We haven't even tested our limits. We already set limits on ourselves. Another philosophy that in the interview he mentioned, I'm going to try my best to translate this. Stick to what are you trying to do, even at the cost of your life. This is more of a Chinese term. Sometimes this language is exaggerating on certain things, emotionally exaggerating. But what he's trying to do is to stick to something with great perseverance. He said that a lot of times when we're looking at the giant on top of the mountain, like for example in my case, looking at the blockbuster movies, looking at the big studios, Universal, Warner Brother, you feel intimidated by them. But you have to understand that they are not scary. They are there because there was someone stick to something with great perseverance. Once you understand that, anything big, anything difficult and giant in front of you become not that scary anymore. He said, anything that's difficult are done by human. Nothing special about it. And what you need to do is just take your time, slowly polish over and over and over, and then eventually you'll get there. I think he's a classic example of slow, steady wins the race. Now people know him. Entire China know who he is. And people starting to put him on the pedestal to see what a giant he is. But before 2019, most of the Chinese doesn't know him. Most of the people didn't know his existence. And he was just the guy staying in his mother's house, trying to get a film made. It's very interesting to look into that. For the next generation, he probably will be the hard to reach magical person on the pedestal. But how many people would remember his past? Would remember who he used to be? The person with great perseverance, patience, faith towards his work, passion towards his craft, and really knowing that this is the thing he wants to do and only focus on that one thing. all of those sounds so encouraging and beautiful after his achievement. But can we find the same beauty before the achievement? Can we see the power and looking for that in our day-to-day life so that we can be present enough to improve our craft, to do our work, to make our story, instead of looking so far away, wondering when I will be recognized? One more time, where he said, anything that's difficult are done by human. There's nothing special about it. And lastly, there is a line in the movie Naja become a social media sensation, and I want to share with you here. I am the master of my own destiny. Just like the director Dumpling did. He is the master of his own destiny. And so are we. If you haven't checked out the movie, definitely watch it. I would recommend you check out the first movie first, because the second movie is continuous of whatever happened in the first one. I think it's worth to check it out. And then remember, you are the master of your own destiny. Be patient, be present, stay creative. Bye.